This film demonstrates how the operational orders for landing airships are carried out by the men of the ground handling crew. After its patrol in the air, the landing and docking of the K-type airship requires expert and experienced handling. The landing action demands alertness, fast footwork, and strong hands on the lines. The men of the ground handling party proceed to the proper location for the landing, directed by the ground handling officer. The area must be clear of obstructions and have at least 1,500 feet distance from the hangar to avoid dangerous air currents or atmospheric turbulence. The mast follows the men to the field, but it is kept at a safe distance from the actual landing location. The men march to the field with the wind. They take their position in a V formation. At the open end of the V, the men will be 75 feet apart. A car party of about 6 to 8 men go down to the center of the V. An advance party 150 feet downwind from the car party. To diagram the landing procedure, the ground handling officer is represented by the figure stationed at the point of the V with the flag man. The advance party consists of 4 to 8 men, shown in red. The yellow figures represent the car party of 8 men. The 2 short line parties are designated by the blue figures of 8 to 10 men in each party. And the 2 long line parties of 8 to 20 men are also in blue. Ready to receive the approaching airship, this is the formation of the ground handling party. In landing the ship, the advance party gets the long and short lines in hand and runs out toward the beam, tending aft, to check the forward motion of the ship. The long lines parties advance and also take hold of long lines. The short lines parties now take hold of their lines. The car party is ready to take hold of the car by the handrails. With all the line parties in position, the ship is landed. When the ship is landed and placed on its mast, the long and short line parties take position on the tail lines. The car party remains on the car. In this formation, the ship moves into the hangar or dock. Communication is maintained between the ground handling officer and the ship in the air. The communication car talks to the pilot through the control tower.
Lakehurst Control from NEL 3. Ground handling officer reports the party ready for King 3. Acknowledge.
NEL from Lakehurst Control, Wilco. King 3 from Lakehurst Control. The ground handling officer reports ready to receive you. Acknowledge.
Back flashes the acknowledgement from the airship to the control tower to the ground handling officer. From the pilot's view, we approach the field and the landing party. The ground party goes into action. The advance party swings out and away, tending aft, taking the lines to the line parties. Now the car party underneath to their rail. The line parties, long and short lines in hand, now add their holding party to the advance party. All parties are now holding. The ship has stopped, successfully landed. In slow motion, we again see the landing procedure.
Out on your line.
4 men of the advance party swing in, moving in the same direction as the ship. Each man seizes a separate line and runs out toward the beam. The car party has taken hold, and the long and short line parties join the advance party.
Out abreast on the long line. Hold fast.
The ship is stopped. Various approaches. The ship's approach governs the method of the landing operation. If the ship approaches the field too high, the officer orders,
Squat down.
also the signalman holds his flag down. Both of these are signals to the pilot not to land his ship.
Squat down.
This same order is given if the ship approaches high and fast. If the ship is heavy and high, again the order to squat down is given, and no landing is made. Proper landing. With the airship in a proper condition of equilibrium, the landing operations proceed. The men are all on the alert for the officer's orders. By waving his flag, the flagman signals to the pilot to come in.
Out on your lines. Meet the ship. Car party under the car. Out abreast on your long lines.
This order brings the long line party to normal position as the ship swings to the wind. Light landing. When the condition of the airship is light, the ship has a tendency to rise like a balloon. It is then landed by the teamwork of both pilot and ground handling party.
Out on your lines. Meet the ship.
Note that the order by which the parties go into action has changed. Long and short line parties precede the car party in the light landing. The ground handling officer signals to the pilot to rev up the engines. With the ship's elevator properly positioned, the ship is driven down against the lighter than air tendency to rise.
Hold fast.
The long lines parties hold the ship against the forward motion, but not enough to pull the nose down.
Check your long lines.
The pilot revs up the engines. The ship rests in.
Car party under the car.
As the ship approaches the ground, the car party takes hold and brings it down.
Out abreast on the long lines.
The long lines are brought in the normal position to the ship. Heavy landing. On most patrol operations, an airship lands statically lighter than air, but sometimes a heavy landing is made. When the ship comes in on the wheel, the short lines take hold. Then two of the advance party take the long lines in a bundle from each side of the pilot's compartment and run forward abreast of the ship.
Long lines abreast of the ship.
When the ship is in the hands of the ground party, the crew should allow the car to swing with the wind until the ship is placed on the mast. Tending ship and placing it on the mast. When the ship is finally on the ground and all motion stops, the next step in control is placing it on its mast.
Rig your tail lines. Stand by to put the ship on the mast. Ease the ship ahead slowly. Connect pendant. Connected. Heave round. Take the nose to port. Take the nose to starboard.
With winds of 25 knots against the ship's bow, caution must be used in tending the ship. The car party steps up, raises the bow of the ship to meet the cut connection.
Check your way. Up on the bow. Locked in cup. In on your long lines. Cut your engines. Man the tail lines.
Adverse conditions. When adverse winds prevent hangar docking, the ship is taken to the mooring out circle, where it remains until the high winds subside. The mast anchors are secured by the hold-down turnbuckle to prevent tipping over. The mast is jacked up to take the strain of overload off the tires and anchor the bow. The pilot calls the squadron commander to report and request inspection of the airship. Water is sometimes sprayed on the envelope to cool the gas and reduce the pressure. The pilot remains aboard, employs proper elevator control to prevent the ship hitting too hard when a heavy gust causes it to kite. The ship swings in the wind on the mooring mast. Normal docking. When the winds subside, the ship is brought to the hangar entrance.
Spot the tractor.
The tractor brings the ship's mast to the exact marked position. This assures clearance of the tail of the ship when it is turned and hauled into the hangar.
Haul the tail to port.
The port tail lines hold the ship in safe position to clear the side of the hangar. The tractor moves forward with the ship to the hangar opening and safely crosses the entrance.
Walk the ship aft. Spot the ship.
Unmasting, taking the ship off the mast, disembarking and securing.
Stand by to take the ship off the mast. Take the ship off the mast. Out lugs. Lugs out. Trip. Trip. Back on the car. Walk the ship aft. Slow her down. Hold.
In securing the airship in the hangar, the bow and stern wires are connected to the hangar deck.
Secure your lines. Weights on. Flight crew disembark.
Out on the field for the next ship.